Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I'm your host, Ashwin. I'm joined by DJ. DJ, India are Asia Cup T20 champions. Big day, medium day, confusing day. How are you feeling, man? I mean, undefeated in the tournament, on the back of comments by our skipper saying it's not even really a rivalry. India has now beaten Pakistan 3 times. When we did this preview, Varun was like, it feels like a big setup to allow India to face Pakistan 3 times. And I don't know, how are you doing, man? It's late night for you on a tournament winning day for India. Are you excited?
I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah.
The best team of the tournament won. India was undefeated through the tournament. But there's a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot of things have happened in
Yeah.
the 2 weeks since we recorded our preview. What seemed like a bit of a Mickey Mouse tournament basically took on a life of its own outside of the cricket field. If
Yeah.
that's probably a fair thing to say.
And the stories were largely outside of the cricket field, right? But we are a cricket podcast. Let's start with the cricket first, right? And I mean, the only headline from that first stage of the tournament was unfortunately the Afghanistan mismatch, right? Where they fell short, weren't able to qualify even for the Super Fours, which I think I had called Afghanistan to make the finals, but it is what it is. Then Bangladesh actually looked decent in the Super Fours. They beat Sri Lanka. So a little bit of a weird format where you had on Thursday the first or the penultimate Super Four match. Pakistan Bangladesh became a knockout match, and Pakistan won and reached the finals. And everybody knew there was an India Pakistan final. Then India had to play Sri Lanka in this dead rubber, which was super weird. Ended up actually getting kind of exciting, and getting going to a super over, which got really weird, which we'll talk about here in a second. And then it got to the final. So, DJ, I guess let me first ask you, did it sort of feel inevitable to have India Pakistan 3 times? Did it almost feel like in the political landscape where India is choosing to not play against Pakistan in bilaterals and things like that, did it feel like, yes, but everybody kind of wants all the money and eyeballs that come from India playing Pakistan, so we'll set it up this way anyway, and we got 3 matches?
Yeah, so they set it up for 3 games. We always talk about 3 games, one group game, one Super Four game, and one final, but it never quite works out that way because Sri Lanka were defending champions, right? And India and Pakistan had both fluffed their lines the last time round. Um, so I guess the organizers got what they want. Um, we got an exciting game with the Sri Lanka game, which was a super over. Went into overtime. There wasn't really much I have to say, there really wasn't very much to talk about throughout that tournament other than whether India would slip on a banana peel in the final, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. Like, we had that ridiculous Champions Trophy in 2017 where like bottom of the table Pakistan ODI side beat India's, I mean, probably one of the best ODI sides in the world at the time, right? In a freak game where everything went Pakistan's way. So
Yeah.
Pakistan kind of needed to play the perfect game. India had a bit of a setback today with Pandya not playing. That was a big miss, right? And I don't know. That kind of threw the balance off quite a bit in a way.
Yeah, and so why don't we let's talk about the final first. How about that? And then we'll talk about the tournament as a whole, what it means, does it still have the relevance we want it to and stuff. But let's talk about the final then. So you said it, DJ. It started with a pretty big change with Rinku Singh coming in, having not actually played a single ball or a single game in the entire tournament, excuse me. Bumrah came back in, no surprise. Dubé came back in, not a huge surprise, obviously. Both got a little bit of a rest for the Sri Lanka game. But then Rinku coming in for Hardik. First off, is quadriceps injury the new way of saying we didn't want to announce that we're dropping somebody? Did Hardik actually get left out, you think, in your opinion, or was there really an injury here?
No, I think it would have been an injury because um, Hardik is quite a valuable
He's
player for
too
this
good and
Indian
too
side, right?
important.
Like, he
Yeah.
opens the bowling, he can smack the ball around, he's got a bit of a swagger. He's
Yeah.
won an India Pakistan game before, if you remember.
Yeah.
Last time Asia Cup group stage was Pandya swiping a six in the last over.
Yeah.
So I think he was definitely injured. I was surprised actually. I would have thought they might have gone for Arshdeep after his
Yeah.
performance in the Sri Lanka game. He was, I mean, he's the highest T20 wicket taker for India. He's got more
Yeah,
wickets than
I mean,
Bumrah.
I don't think it was a question of Arshdeep or not,
It
or
was
not, whether
batting
he's
depth.
deserved or not. It's do you want an extra batter or an extra bowler? Knowing
Yeah.
that the heaviest lifting will always be done by the trio of Varun, Akshar, Kuldeep, and then of course Bumrah as a world class player. Do you need to pick a specialist for those last four? That's why Hardik is so perfect in the setup, where he can bat and he can give you four
He's
great
just about
overs.
good enough,
He's
right?
exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Do you? And Dubé obviously has been decent with the ball too. So I guess, I mean, obviously, in hindsight, the right call, I guess, right? All the heavy lifting got done by the three spinners and Bumrah. Or do you feel like you would have liked to still see an extra quick bowling option, given the kind of a flyer of a start that Pakistan got off to?
I mean, Ashdeep hasn't done a lot of wrong here,
No.
right? Like he didn't play the England tour. I think he got injured.
Yeah.
He had a blinder of a Sri Lanka game,
Yeah.
and he walks into that Indian T20 side as the second seamer behind Bumrah. Bumrah didn't have a great tournament, I have to say. He was okay. He had one moment where he took Haris Raw's stumps off. I think that was probably his moment of the tournament. Memorable, right?
I
Kind of
mean, at a
sticks in the mind.
macro level, though, 5 matches, 7 wickets for 109 runs, average of 19.29, economy
Mm.
rate of, I'm trying to do math quickly, 18.1. Sorry, 7 for 135, right? So just over 6 and over. It's not a Bumrah level tournament, but on a wicket that did not do a lot for quicks. Other than Shaheen, actually, nobody really had a decent tournament with the ball from a quick bowling standpoint. Fizz
Fair.
was okay. I mean, anyway, so yeah, it's
Yeah,
just that
fair.
Bumrah's standard is so freaking
Yeah.
high that he's set for it. So anyway, keep going.
And Arshdeep obviously because Bumrah and Dubey didn't play the previous game, they both. But Pandya got injured, so you could have kind of seen the Dubey coming in for Pandya and Arshdeep keeping his spot. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It could have been, but Rinku they chose the greater batting depth. I felt at the time that it was a defensive move, given. I mean, Pakistan had scored runs even in the Super 4 game in the power play, right? That was
Yeah.
a Sahib Zada
Farhan.
Farhan, like again a guy I've never heard of. So part of the reason I was not interested in this tournament was like I have
You
to
didn't know
say,
half the guys, yeah.
yeah, every time you turn the TV on, Pakistan is a totally different team. Like I
Dude,
recognize Fakar,
in the preview, Varun gave me a
just
hard
like
time that
who
I
are these
didn't.
guys?
I was expecting Babar and Rizwan to walk out, and Varun was giving me a hard time in the preview, saying they're the Rohit Kohli, they're gone from the T20 setup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, yeah,
And Salman Agha, and I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
like this is just every time you play Pakistan, there's a totally new side. It's just
Yeah.
symptomatic of their cricket, right? And so anyway, Arshdeep I thought could have played. I thought that would have been a good move. He had movement, he bowled well, but we chose the extra batting depth, and it was as Rinku says, God's plan. He was there
Yeah.
at the end.
One ball he batted and hit the winning runs. All right, DJ, let's just quickly run through the innings, right? 84 for 1 in 9 over. 84 when Saibzada Farhan got out in the 10th over. 113 for 2 at 12.5. And you're thinking, okay, is this 200? You know, the rule of thumb in T20 is 12-ish overs. You want to double your score, right? You don't want to double the score you were at 12-ish, especially, by the way, if at the start of the 13th over, you're only at 1 down. And then Pakistan doing Pakistan things. Obviously, I was kind of nervous. By the way, the messages that we were going back and forth with were like, "Great job, Sky." Sky made this comment, which we have to talk about. But Sky made the comment, obviously, that it's not even really a rivalry anymore. We beat them every time when we've won as many in a row, which I don't actually fundamentally disagree with. Let's be very clear. I do not disagree with Sky. But man, just say it at the end of a tournament. Don't say it once you've beaten them 3 times in a tournament. Saying, "Kya rivalry? What
No,
is this?" I
but
don't.
that's the Aussie thing, right? Like
Yeah,
it's like I'll tell you.
yeah.
There was a famous line which said "keh ke marenge." It was that, right? That's what Sky did. I mean,
Fair
it was
enough.
close, so like
But then
it gave us a lot of nervousness.
you're
But
sitting there saying 113 for 1 after 12 and a half overs. It's just scary, man. You just never know what can happen. It's tournament cricket, it's finals, all of this stuff. And yet then our guys just showed up, right? Akshar picked up 2 critical wickets. He picked up Mohammad Haris, picked up Hussain Talat. Kuldeep Yadav picked up 4 tremendous wickets, obviously. And Varun picked up 2 great wickets too. Varun obviously picked up both the openers, right? So that's who started all of this. And then it just felt like 146. Yes, it ended up being a harder chase than it should have, but it always felt like it was chaseable. DJ, how much is that collapse symptomatic of a little bit of the rift between the level that India and Pakistan have shown at world cricket? In fact, let me ask you said differently. The message you sent me was like an IPL, like Sunrisers would have chased this 146 down with ease, is what you said. And the thought just being how much of it is that India's playing at the IPL and that level. And yes, there's the PSL, but is Pakistan just not at that level anymore?
No, they're not, and they're the second best team in Asia right now, which is a fair result for them. And that collapse, as you said, 113 for one to 146 all out it was amazing. Like Kuldeep, obviously world class bowler, Varun, obviously world class bowler, but to keep hitting the ball down the fielders' throats when you know that they're there. I know they were trying to accelerate, right? But they didn't even play out their full quota of 20 overs. Like they were bowled out, which it's that's a crime in T20 cricket, and
Yeah.
they probably emotion probably ran away a little bit with them as well. They were like, okay, maybe we can do this, maybe we can become legends. Because make no mistake, if Pakistan had beaten India today, these guys would have been heroes back
Man, I
home
was mentally
with all
gearing
the
myself
background.
up. I was mentally geared up for an episode where we had to like sort of eat our hat and be like, okay, fine, we won all the other matches and we lost this one. So yeah, you're spot on. It would have
No,
been
because
very
it there
different.
could have been a freak game where like the 113 for one becomes 210.
Of course, yeah.
The Fakar Zaman innings at the
Yeah.
Oval, right? 2017. Like who knows what happens?
It just feels like Pakistan had a lot to lose, a lot to gain by
Yeah,
potentially
yeah,
winning, but nothing
yeah,
really to lose. Nobody expected them. And
yeah.
India had nothing to gain. We're sitting here saying, yeah, of course we
But
won
they
the
put
Asia Cup
pressure on
undefeated.
themselves.
But as a result, too much to lose.
Yeah.
Right? As a result, there was too much downside for India with limited upside. We're sitting here. I mean, you and I are usually celebrating victories when we win big tests. We're like fired up when we hit the record button. And this just felt like we had nothing to gain, but potentially a lot to lose.
But also, Ash, what a day to wear a green shirt on the podcast.
Yeah, I knew you were going to give me feedback for that. I was wearing it before. Should change. Maybe if our editors are listening to this, I can Photoshop. I can make sure this make this look kind of blue.
Yeah.
But anyway, DJ 146. Quickly on the chase. Every single casual cricket fan like us, by the way, after the phenomenal tournament he had, which was 309 runs in the first 6 games, average of 44.8, strike rate of over 200, made 75 in one, 67 in another, 71 in another. Everybody knew, by the way, a final's going to roll up. Shaheen is going to be bowling. It wasn't Shaheen who got him out, incidentally. But everybody knew this was going to happen. Basically, final, left arm swingy bowler, 5 for 3 is what we all had. Then we said maybe 15 for 3 would be better. It became 20 for 3. But Abhishek Sharma, it was due a failure, and you don't hold that against him, basically, do you? Like he got us here single-handedly, basically. Now it's time for somebody else to win the final, right?
It's kind of how he plays, right? It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
It's a testament to his skill and talent that it comes off more often than not, right?
Yeah.
It was a good piece of bowling by Faheen. It was slow, balloon to mid on, pretty annoying way to get out, I guess, for him. But at the end of the tournament, he was pretty. He was pretty vocal after the last game as well about how they were coming at us. So for no reason, so I wanted to give them a piece of their own medicine. And then similar dismissal kind of. We should probably talk about Sky. I read a cricket info article called Skyfall.
That's a good title. Actually.
Yeah, is this we're seeing the end of the Sky era? He's had a few injuries. It's kind of hard.
Man, I'm not close to calling it the end, but it is a very bad run, right? I didn't look up his stats for this calendar year or anything. Let me see.
I think he got 99 runs in 12 games or something like that. It's been bad. I don't know. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, and how was his IPL this year? Obviously,
pretty epic actually. I think he got 700 plus
717 runs, right, in 16 games.
He was the only non-opener to ever score those many runs or something like that. So IPL was fine. It's just
and then you
go to his. He's had like some injuries and like he's been out of the game and.
Yeah, listen, last calendar year, 2024, I'm just going to go through the numbers live. He played 18 matches, made 429, average of 26, strike rate of 151. Not great. Before that, just so you know, and by calendar year, his averages were 34.8, 46.5, 48.8. So he was on that upswing, then headed down here. This year, 99 runs in the calendar year, 12.3 is his average, or a strike rate of 110. Just obviously not the year he's wanted to have. Is that enough for me to say he's the wrong choice of skipper or we want him out or anything? Absolutely not. However, I will say this is a team that is already starting to gear up towards the messaging on, like, first off, none of us really expected Gill would be back in the side, right? He's back in the side. He was one of the interviews that were done on the boundary line. I'm not going to read into that too much, but it pretty clearly feels like the medium-term plan, not even long-term, is for Gill to be all-format captain. The question is that an immediate-term, short-term plan? With the World Cup kind of around the corner in this format, is that a choice you make soon? I'm of the opinion you say no because you look at his IPL form, and I say absolutely not. Nowhere close to letting him go yet, but it wasn't a good tournament, right? What do you think, Dino?
No, I think 26 he's got to stay, right? Like
Yeah.
Sky's he's an epic player. He's just had an awful run, and
Yeah.
again, it's the nature of T20 cricket that you need one innings. He got like 40 odd or 50 odd in the first Pakistan game, finished the game, and but I feel he's spending too much time doing media training. He should be in the nets hitting the ball.
If he's been doing that much trading, it hasn't really paid off quite that much. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's a
he
different.
should probably do a bit more than I don't know. It was a interesting tournament for Sky. It was more Bath than Bat actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Bath than Bat. That's a better title than Skyfall. All right, DJ, let's take a very quick break. We'll come back, talk about the rest of the chase, and then about the tournament in general. Don't go anywhere. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're on all the socials at One Tip One Hand. You guys know the drill. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how you feel about anything we're saying about the Asia Cup final. DJ, let's just wrap up the match then. I said 15 for 3 is the threat. I texted you guys when the third wicket fell at 20 as Gill played a stupid, reckless shot and got out. And it was 20 for 3, and you're thinking
it was
at this
almost
point,
11 for 3 when he nearly ran himself
it was
out. That would have
awful,
been.
awful run out, lots of pressure. You're just feeling it. No need for pressure, by the way. And this surface with this much amount to chase, when you had, Abhishek and Sky were out, but you had Gill, Tilak, Sanju, Dubey, Rinku, and Akshar. Don't forget about Akshar. You should chase this down easily. Why are you panicking? But fine. Panicked, almost got run out, and then went for a big shot that wasn't there. We have often said, by the way, in the T20 format, Tilak could be, if not the first, one of the top 3 names on the team sheet. And he proved that today. It was by a player who can hit a big shot, can bat incredibly fast, has a T20 strike rate of 149, IPL strike rate of 144. He just played such a champion innings today. Just was calm, was collected, batted his way through the tough kind of spell, put up a good partnership with Sanju, and then got the job done with Shivam. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to hit the winning run because he took that single and Rinku got the boundary, but that was a little poetic too. Just how clutch was Tilak at 4 today.
It was awesome, and I was actually surprised to see him not walk out at 3 because he's batted at 3 before and done well, and that it would have maintained the left hand, right hand that India like to have. But I was watching the game with a friend, and we were watching Gill bat up top, and the friend was saying like Gill is like trying to channel his inner Kohli in these chases and stuff, and I was like, you know what, the new Kohli isn't Gill, not in T20s, it's actually Tilak, because I remember another game fairly recently. Well, there's so much cricket, but I think it was a game against England, T20s. Did we play some T20s against England? I don't know.
Probably, yes.
Where he's kind of single-handedly, I think he scored 80 odd and took us home by himself. And he's quite ice cool in these scenarios. So I was actually pretty chilled out. I knew that as long as Tilak was around, he has that ability to explode. He's got those crazy wrists. Like, I think he's from Hyderabad, and which I've like never really picked up on because he plays for Mumbai, right?
The Azhar.
Yeah, but he plays Ranji for Hyderabad, so it's long legacy of the Azhars and the Lakshmans, right? But that risky thing that he takes out from outside off stump to like deep square, that's like other Lakshman-esque, but on steroids.
By the way, we should probably have known this as cricket podcasters. Do you know Tilak Verma's full name?
It started Thakur something, right?
It's Namburi Thakur Tilak Verma. He's Telugu,
Yeah,
like he is
yeah,
from Hyderabad. So
he's Telugu.
it was
Yeah,
destined to be, man. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
So
What a great
so
insight.
yeah. So I was watching the I don't know. I was maybe watching the Dilip Trophy stuff. So which is when I realized that he's from Hyderabad, which is also a place that I've
Yeah,
played a lot of cricket. Right,
yeah,
learned a lot of my cricket there. So it makes sense how he hits the ball. He hits it in unusual places. He accelerates through the ball, and look, man, he's the product of the IPL.
yeah.
He's got long hair. He's got tattoos. He's fit. He's quick between the wickets. He's got big shots. He's got little dinks. It's just. I mean, that is a T20 batter in its a complete T20 batter in himself. Like
Yeah.
I actually think Tilak Varma is the new Kohli like 2.0. It's just too good.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit also of this element of like when Kohli started, everybody was said he's going to be the next Sachin. And you look back, it's funny because he's not done with his career, but you look back at his career on format and you say Kohli was he's a legend, has built a brilliant career, but he by no means was the next Sachin, if you will. They didn't play similar style, they didn't have similar approaches, they didn't have similar attitudes, they didn't none of that stuff. And so Gill also needs to be able to and carve out his own niche. By the way, Gill as captain will be a totally different beast than Kohli. Gill as batter will be a totally different beast. So it just feels like the Gill doesn't need to force his way into feeling like he must become the next Kohli. But that's a discussion maybe for a different day. DJ, as we wrap up talk of this final and this Asia Cup, we started with a little, but does the tournaments have the relevance that it used to when Sri Lanka won the World Cup in 1996? Like if you look at the 80s through the 2000s, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka at least. Bangladesh was not yet a big side. Afghanistan was not yet a test side. But the big three in South Asia were incredibly competitive, incredibly feisty against each other, all of that stuff. Does this tournament have the relevance that it did back then, or are you really waiting for India versus Australia or England or South Africa at this point and betting on those four teams making the semis of the next World Cup?
Uh the Asia Cup is fluctuated between being an ODI
Yeah,
tournament and a T20 tournament, right? So
yeah.
we've had some years where it has been an ODI tournament as well. Currently, I'm kind of torn as to whether we should have an Asia Cup anymore. But what's the point of it if the winning team doesn't turn up to take the trophy?
Yeah.
I think this is probably. I think this is it's probably the last we're going to see of this tournament because the Asian Cricket Council hasn't got enough teeth. The ICC can't do anything. It's gotten kind of out of hand.
Yeah.
A lot of the off-field stuff. It's a lot of it is in poor taste as well.
Yeah.
Like this Harris Rav gestures. I mean, just like, come on, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about that quickly then.
Yeah.
How do you feel about kind of how it all went down, right? Obviously there was Saibzada Farhan made gestures, then Haris Rauf made gestures, then of course India, Sky made the comments about or didn't shake hands with Pakistan after the first game. Second game made them shake hands with the players, but now in the
Who
final,
did? Who
Gautam
did
Gambhir
make?
did.
Did?
He did. He made them go back and
Okay.
shake hands, and now in the final, they didn't go take their medals or the trophy. And then the Prime Minister of India has now tweeted about Operation Sindhur and this and that. And it's just like, at one point, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but you and I have talked about this off the air. At one point, just don't play Pakistan. Then what is all this shit about? Let's move to a different location, then neutral
Yeah,
venue,
just
then this. Like, why are we playing? Just don't play.
it's also unfair on any players that
Yeah.
don't want to be part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're there to do a job. It's
Yeah.
their job. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, politics is everywhere. I mean, you live in the US, so I don't need to tell you that. Um,
Yeah.
but what if India hadn't won today?
Yeah.
Right? What would the reaction have been back home? Would these players have been there? Like we've seen players' effigies being burned, their houses
Yeah.
being attacked. This is, but we've also seen an Indian crowd giving a Pakistani team in our lifetime a standing ovation. And that is we've had 3 wars with that country.
Yeah.
So I actually think that when we look back at this tournament, I think we've now drawn a line in the sand, and I don't think India is going to play Pakistan anymore, nor should they until. Look, we've always said like politics shouldn't interfere in sport, right? Right. So that's kind of what we've been
For
saying,
sure.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's no longer the reality of it.
It's just not. Yeah.
It's an unrealistic expectation to have. That's the
Yeah.
truth of it now. And if the BCCI is getting a directive from the government to do things in a certain way, then that is sport being interfered with in
Yeah.
politics. And if
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be, then you can't expect these players to just play it as a sport.
Yeah.
It's the it's not a sport anymore. It's been converted into something more than that.
Yeah.
And it's unfair on the players more than anything else. The fans, we're just sitting, we're eating our
Yeah.
popcorn, we're watching a game, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of sentiment as well after what happened earlier this year, Pulwama, Operation Sindoor. Of course, people have like lost their lives, and there's a lot of emotion about that. And there was a valid question as to whether they should even go ahead.
Yes.
And if we chose not to play it, that would have been fine. There
Yeah.
was a Legends tournament where India pulled out of the final because
Yeah.
they worked out it was against Pakistan. Now, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, right? That's a question that's beyond the scope of this podcast. But what's now become amply clear is that the situation is not tenable
Yeah.
for Indian cricketing relations to carry on with Pakistan. You've had a captain fined, you've had two players of the opposition fined, you've had a match referee that's been hauled up for stuff, you've had complaints being made about the PCB record. It's just like it was
Yeah.
Sasbahu happening off the field there. Like, this is a sport, but it's no longer a sport, Ashwin. I think that's what I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at. That this has gone beyond. Yes,
I
there's
think.
a nationalistic point to all of this, right? Like, we all enjoy watching it, supporting our team. India's our team. We feel proud of our
Yeah.
team. When we take a step back, I'm very proud of our team for winning
On
the
the field.
game and what they
Absolutely.
did on
Yeah.
the field. I just don't know what to think about what all is going
Yeah.
out. I don't have the brain power to process it
Yeah.
because I don't think anybody should have to play under that kind of pressure or
Yeah.
do their
Listen.
job under that kind of pressure. I don't know.
I think you said it really well when you basically said we could have not played and it would have been fine, right? I think a lot of fans didn't feel it was the right thing for India to play against Pakistan and boycott it, and that's fine. Turn off the TVs, boycott. Your voice is loudest with your eyeballs, right? Because that's what these tournaments are worth to the boards, to the advertisers, all that stuff. And so if you're not watching, that's great. Don't watch, don't engage, etc. But I think at this point we've crossed the line into like it's not fair on the players. I think you said it really well, and I'll repeat what you said. Where this is not a referendum. This episode on how difficult the last year has been for the country and war is real. It's all difficult. It's incredibly real. It just feels like we're cherry picking and saying, okay, but let's play these tournaments, but we'll play it in a way where we won't shake hands. We won't. So, man, it's
Yeah,
better
it's
for
it's
if it's
having
better for
your
the
cake and eating it too,
yeah
right? Like,
yeah
that's what the BCCI wants.
correct. If
It
it's better
wants
for
the
the macro
eyeballs.
landscape to just don't play.
Just don't.
Lose it.
Ju-
Play it.
Or
Play it.
or you know what? Give them a walkover. Let them
Yeah.
take the games,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We will
I
schedule all the extra tournaments. You think India has a hard time getting England or New Zealand or Sri Lanka or Afghanistan or
oh no,
anybody
you
playing?
you
Everybody wants to
play
play us.
you if you
Play
want
us.
to play the Asia Cup,
Yeah.
we play the Asia Cup. We won't play you.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know.
heavy
Tough.
stuff. Always difficult to think through and talk about, and also even harder to transition back to talking about the sport. But I'm going to try to do it anyway. DJ, as we wrap up this week's episode, we're about 5-ish months from the World Cup, and then the IPL will follow. So we're getting into T20 extravaganza. Of course, the Ashes happened before then, which are not for India, but going to be exciting for our world cricket. Any kind of major takeaways coming away from this Asia Cup, right? Obviously, India and Sri Lanka will co-host the T20 World Cup, so quite different conditions from the UAE, but similar in terms of the spin benefits, etc. How do you feel about major takeaways for, let's call it, our squad, right? Arshdeep, Sky, any major kind of people who solidified their spot in the 11s and some who added new questions?
So I think a couple of questions around Bumrah and his use in the power play.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been a lot of scrutiny. I think him and Kef had a bit of a thing on Twitter. Look,
Twitter, yeah.
I've actually had to give up social media and Twitter
Yeah.
recently. It was just all getting a bit too much. But I read that, and Bumrah actually commented on his
Yeah,
post saying, or
incorrect or
tweet saying,
inaccurate or yeah,
inaccurate, then inaccurate again. Um, so that's interesting how Bumrah will be used.
yeah,
But if India think that pitches are going to be similar to what they've had in Abu Dhabi, maybe the question for me is going to be: look, Kuldeep had a fantastic game today, 4 for 30. Uh, the guy who's vulnerable for me is not Kuldeep, but it's going to be Varun, and him and Arshdeep are going to be against each
the
other
number
for
one
a
T20
single
bowler in
spot.
the world right now.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not going to drop Akshat because he's too good a batter.
Yeah,
Kuldeep is the X factor bowler. If you want a second seamer opening the bowling in kind of flat conditions, India's got to
yeah,
make a choice whether they think that the extra batting depth that they can get by getting Pandya to open the bowling is worth it. And maybe they just say, look, T20 is fodder, right? Like
yeah.
it doesn't matter who's bowling. But I think Arshdeep has that extra. So for me, that'll be a question whether Arshdeep can find a spot in this 11, because it might just be they play the same 11 that they played
Yeah.
against like Pakistan in the first couple of games.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say batting, not that much new questions. I do think Samson showed up really well today. He said it actually in the post match that he likes the pressure, he loved the moment, the opportunity. So I think he did a
He
good
was good
job.
behind the stumps as well,
He was good
actually.
behind
Like
the stumps as well.
especially when he hit the stumps and got denied a
Yeah,
run out because of some appalling umpiring against
yeah.
Sri Lanka. That was really bad.
Well, that's a different discussion. Let's talk about it in another episode. I think it's an ICC issue. You should
Yeah,
just
it's a
have the
ridiculous scenario.
umpires not give any decisions on the field until the full play is done.
Because
Because the second or
I
third time is
texted you guys
yeah,
before all of that happened. I was like, surely if this
yeah.
guy gave it out at the bowlers, and I was like, what is
Yeah, it
going
doesn't. It
on?
doesn't make any sense. But
Ridiculous.
so I mean, I would agree. I would just say from my lens quickly, Abhishek is cemented his spot right for the at least through the World Cup. I think
I would
Gill
say, man, I'd say more than cemented. I
maybe. I
think
mean,
he's
I'm just
knocking
talking
on
about
like
six.
1 day selection at this
Yeah,
point.
Gill, Tilak, Sanju, all feel good for me. Sky, I think, still has a question mark, but they're not going to make that major change. And so, really, the questions will be around combination. And I think
Hmm.
the agility, and we didn't talk about, by the way, all the weirdness in the batting order that happened through the tournament and them trying all the things. But the agility with Hardik, Dubey, Akshar, and based on the pitch and how to play it, is going to be important. By the way,
But
I'm going to say
Dubey is
this:
knocked today, by the way,
Dubey
and
played great.
his spell against Pakistan in the second game.
Yeah, in the
I
opening,
think,
even today, by the way, as an
yeah,
opening bowler,
yeah,
where he
decent.
he didn't go for a lot of runs. He was not
Yeah,
the
very decent.
not
I
the
think he's
leakiest
done
bowler.
his case quite a lot of good. I mean,
Yes.
he batted really well today as well.
Yeah.
Nice sixes and
All right. I have a fun trivia question for you to wrap up this game because I was pulling up bowling rankings as you were talking about Varun. Varun is the number one T20 I bowler in the world by quite a long distance, right? India's third ranked T20 bowler is Akshar Patel. Okay. He's 13th in the total, but I'm just going through the Indians. Fourth is Arshdeep. Okay. And then fifth is Kuldeep, etc. Who is India's second highest current as of today, September 22nd, 2025, which is the latest refresh? Who is India's second highest ranked T20I bowler?
India's second highest ranked
It's a great
T20.
trivia question to wrap up this show. That
Is he okay? Is he playing the Asia Cup?
no,
Must be. It can't be Siraj. Don't know. I don't think. I don't know. Siraj.
it is not Siraj. I'm trying to find actually the last
He's
T20
not played.
match. The last
I
T20
think,
match was India versus England at the Wankhede.
is that the one that Tilak scored the runs in? Tell
That
me.
is the no Abhishek Sharma 135. Tilak made
Oh man.
24.
Yeah, but I
But
think Tilak made runs in one of
this
those
guy
games.
only
Yeah.
bowled one over, picked up 1 for 9. Are you gonna? You have no chance of getting this.
I have no
If you're
chance.
if you're in the comments and you're listening, pause and answer the question
Mukesh
before.
Kumar.
Ravi Bishnoi.
Oh, Bishi, shit. Yeah,
But,
he's a good bowler.
Like
He's a good bowler,
how
man.
much is the depth in Indian cricket that
The
there's just
Bishi
so
is not
many
even
bowlers.
in the picture. I mean, talking
Yeah.
about depth, poor Karun Nair's out again. But that's another episode for the
Yeah,
West Indies.
next week we'll
tribute.
talk a little bit about India versus West Indies.
DDP.
2 test matches coming
DDP
back.
is back, yeah.
DJ, this was fun.
times.
Good to live through the Asia Cup. Congratulations to you and to all Indian fans for a big win this week. Not quite as
Tough
exciting
day.
as we'd have hoped, but listen, 3 wins against Pakistan and undefeated in the tournament. We would take that any day of the week. Right. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anywhere else, at One Tip One Hand. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. We are back every week. We will see you next time.